Ida keeps aware. It was summertime on the island of Sodor, and the trains on the tracks were being really useful every day with passenger freight and gender service. Grade crossings have a crossbuck, flashing lights, a gate, and a bell, which tells vehicles to give the train some room so they can get by of where they need to go. Women engines come in all shapes and sizes while they pull gender cars, as they are really useful. But if the train is too heavy for one engine to pull, they hook lots of them together, so there's one driver driving one engine with two or more engines trailing. Dwee is a really useful engine who does work with Sam and Lauren, which they pull gender cars of where they need to go. And they can be loaded with big gender products, small gender products, or even medium gender products. But the genders that already exist are female and male. But just because freight cars can be hooked in a certain way doesn't mean women engines can't pull the train. But men trains are used for delivering gender products into the yard for the women locomotives so they can deliver certain items to certain places. But when trains divide, one of them goes to a certain place and the other goes to another. But women trains can pull heavy goods, passengers, or any products of where they need to go. As women engines pull goods, they can have electricity in their motors as the train moves along. One day, Ida was taking a freight train to Killabin. She was feeling pleased with herself. The freight cars were full of crates, boxes, and other containers on board. As the train went along, the wheels made a clicking noise when they went over the joint bars. But sometimes things can go wrong. I love summertime, said Ida. Mr. Cakester likes this time of year very much, that the sun shines. And she steamed down the line. She was a really useful engine. As the train cars clicked and clacked down the line. Ida arrived at the intermodal yard, and she was very punctual indeed. As the freight cars backed up, they came to a standstill. Then Mr. Cakester walked up. He had bad news. The preschool van has broken down, said Mr. Cakester. So Ida, I'd like you to go to the station and collect some coaches and pick up the preschoolers and bring them to their school. The teacher is waiting for them, so don't be late. I won't be late, sir, Ida said, and she steamed out of the yard. Woman engine coming through, Ida said. Ida was very excited. She was going to take preschoolers for the first time. I hope the preschoolers make it on time, said Ida. Mr. Cakester told me not to be late, so I won't. I hope I can... Then there was trouble. Ha ha ha! What in the world? Said Ida. Bust my buffers! I'm gonna chop you up into pieces and knock over headstones in the graveyard and break the law forever! Ha ha ha! Laughed Slicey. Stop! Yelled Ida. I don't like it when you say illegal things. You triggered me! And she steamed crossly off. Before long, Ida was coupled up to the coaches, and she steamed off to the town. Woman engine coming through, Ida said. Meanwhile, Becky was shunting tank cars of oil. Vroom, vroom, roared Slicey, and she hit Becky so hard she bumped right into her tank cars. Ow, she said. You can't do that to me, that hurts! And the tank cars bumped into the coaches. And they rolled right onto the main line. And then they crashed right into the signal box.
I don't care if this happens. I'm feeling good. That was funny.
Shut your mouth! Toby and James said crossly. I don't like it when you smash coaches. Those are very expensive, and you have caused confusion and delay because those coaches cost $5,000 million! Money, Christ's sake! Said Slicey. Women engines like me and Bolton don't care! James and Toby felt ashamed, and their feelings were hurt. No one cares, Bolton snickered. I felt good about derailing those coaches and being a brat, said Slicey. You are, 'cause I'd be excited if we derail. Slicey was cross. Here we go! Roar! I'm a lion! She roared. Vroom, vroom! Meow, she said. Meanwhile, Ida was coming into the station with her passenger train. And she was right on time. And the cab car flashed the auxiliary lamps as it came to a stop. I just met an evil engine called Slicey and Bolton, said Ida to Mr. Cakester. An evil engine, Mr. Cakester said. I didn't know you did, but I'm glad you escaped. You are a really useful engine, Ida. Thank you, sir, Ida said happily. And she buffered up to her goods train of 136 cars, and she steamed onto the Northeast Corridor from Boston to Washington, D.C. I know much about women trains, said Ida, puffed to herself. 'Cause I like being a woman locomotive. After she left the Northeast Corridor without electrification onto the other line, she steamed into the mountains. Woman engine coming through, Ida said. Before long, the grade crossing gates and bells started to ring as Ida steamed over. Woman engine coming through, puffed Ida. Then there was trouble. Fatu and Beanish were waiting at an intersection for Ida to pass, but there was a tank truck stuck on the line. After he got out, Ida was fast approaching. "Here I come," Ida said. Her driver threw on the emergency brakes. But it was too late! Fire raged and Ida flew through the air and off the line as the freight cars derailed. And fire raged forever! It was a giant accident with 4 trains and 1 truck. Then everything stopped. When Mevi saw the accident, she was surprised. "I hope no one's hurt," Mevi said. Luckily, no one was hurt. But Slicey was destroyed and mutilated and was too damaged to fix. And Bolton suffered severe nose and cab damage, but his frame was intact. "I'm okay," he said. "I'm sure there's no worsens or injuries," Mevi said. "I'm gonna get repaired soon," Fatu said. "I don't like being upside down." "And I'm sure Toby and James won't tell engines to shut their mouth," added Beanish. "I'm sorry about crashing into the truck, pushing it into the evil engine Slicey," Ida said sadly. That night, a big storm rolled in. Thunder flashed and lightning crashed, and the engines were safe indoors. "Listen to the thunder outside," Ida said importantly. "We'll be out of our sheds tomorrow," said Fatu. "Exactly right," said Bolton. "Bolton is sorry he was evil," puffed Beanish to Ida. And the storm raged on. When morning broke, the storm had passed, and the sun was out. "Let's get out of our shed," said Ida. Before they knew it, a pair of 2 engines came into view. It was 2 women engines pulling freight cars. And the ditch lamps flashed and they both arrived on time. "I'm glad you're here," Ida said to the 2 women engines with 2 tenders. "My name is Quarla," said the big woman engine. "And my name's Irie," she said. "It's very nice to meet you," said Ida, and all the engines smiled happily.